for Trad afternoon show. I'm happy to report that the Scottish weather is back to normal and it's freezing. I had big plans for the garden this week, but I'll just have to wait till it's not frosty anymore. But in other good news, Hands Up for Trad have announced a very special gig for World Play a Straths Bay Day on the 14th of May. It features fiddlers Adam Sutherland, Ross Cooper, Innes Watson, Megan Henderson, Kristen Harvey, Isla Callister and pianist Rory Masson, and they're all coming together for a very special live show. And we'd love to see you there. You can buy tickets at handsupfortradmusicclub.co.uk. But if you can't make that, just look out for the hashtag World Play a Straths Bay Day on the 14th of May, and there'll be loads of great music kicking around. Anyway, remember and tell us where you're... Oh, someone's saying my sound is very muffled. Wonder why that is. I don't know. Oh, I think I know why. I think that's probably better on the old sound, is it? Is that better, Ray? Right. So, carrying on. Remember and tell us where you're watching from. Tell me if my vocals are rubbish. And, please welcome our very special guest today, guitarist, fiddler, presenter and musical director to the stars, Anna Massie.
Hey!
Hey! Hi Anna, have you been getting out into the garden?
Yes, actually. I was out at the weekend, had a beautiful day on, what was Saturday? I went through to Edinburgh, had a day out and had a walk along the waterway through the Dean Village. I'd never been there before. And then hung out in the Inverleith Park, parts of Edinburgh I'd never experienced, and then went up to the Esplanade. It's all totally empty. The thought being to go through and see Edinburgh before it all opened up again. And I hadn't been in Edinburgh in about a year and a half, and it was quite amazing, but a totally glorious day for it. And then very, very posh, had brunch in a friend's garden on Sunday and got so sunburnt, like really, really ridiculously burnt for a couple of hours out in the morning. It was just such a glorious day, but it felt kind of in keeping because that afternoon Blaze and Fiddles were recording a set for the Orkney Festival, Orkney Folk Festival, sort of virtual online event that's happening at the end of May. And traditionally speaking, I normally get burnt at Orkney Folk Festival, so it kind of, at least felt like Orkney a wee bit.
Well, before we get chatting, we're going to watch a video that features the fab singer Ailey McCormack and piano player Brian McAlpine, and they're playing a song from Jed Grimes' soundtrack to The Bard's Tale 4.
Chachur mishe arunyan ke todas stoje Gusen karet mochri
I have to say, lucky gamers getting to play a game with that in the background.
Absolutely beautiful. That's one of my favourite Gaelic songs.
Oh, I
Just-
totally agree.
Ailey's just magic as well.
Oh, yes. Coming from a quality Gaelic singing family, of course.
Oh, a fine pedigree, aye. Yeah, I really love the Sheehan stuff. Which is Ailey Cormac and Caitlin L.R. Smith and Ellen MacDonald, the three of them singing and Innes White on guitar. So good.
Oh, they're a great band. In fact, I saw on Facebook the other day there, that it's a year since their debut album was released.
Yes.
So everyone, you should, I think the website is Sheehan, SIAN Music, .co.uk, but have a look for it. It's definitely worth checking out. So Anna, we have chatted over the last year lots of times about your time home in the Black Isle. Are you there at the moment?
No, I'm in Glasgow at the moment. However, I was up the road last weekend doing some filming for the virtual Face Ross Adult Weekend, which is this weekend coming. And on Saturday night, Myra Green and myself and Sheehan and Project Smoker on a show that's on BBC Alba. So I was up for work, but managed to get a day out in the garden with Mum and Dad, digging the tatty patch. And I'm going home again tomorrow. The plan is to borrow a tent and camp in the garden because we're not supposed to stay in the house. So I hate camping, but I am determined to go home. So that's what's the word? The compromise.
We should talk actually about that Face Ross Adult Weekend this weekend. Because it starts on Friday night. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. There's workshops and sessions every evening. I think 6 o'clock there's a session every evening. So Ian McFarlane and Ingrid Henderson are hosting the first sort of interactive session on Zoom on Friday. Gary Innes and John Carmichael are doing Saturday. My dad and myself are doing Sunday, which is why I'm going up home. And then on Monday night is Louise Mackenzie and Angus Grant. So 4 sessions, but there's also tuition, workshops, and on BBC Alba on the Friday and Saturday night. The Friday night is Lauren McCall's Seer piece in its entirety with other footage of her around places that were sort of involved in the brand Seer story. And then the Saturday night is the concert with Sheehan and Project Smoke and myself and Myrid, all filmed in this Pepper Pavilion, which just looked amazing. So it's a really brilliant weekend of music coming up.
Oh, that's very exciting. So you talk about playing a session with your dad. Is it with your family and playing your family that you started your musical journey?
Yeah, definitely. It was there was always music in the house, and Dad played guitar mainly when I was wee, and a bit of banjo and mandolin. And he's kind of got more into the banjo, mandolin, melody side of it, sort of past few years, I guess. But it was Dad that first taught me how to play the fretted things, and Mum plays a bit of piano, but spoons. She's sort of come to fame as a spoons player over the last year or so. But yeah, there was always crack, and Dad played in a local ceilidh band, so we often went to the dances when Dad was playing. Mum and I would dance, so it was very much a family involvement.
And what would you say? I mean, what are your influences?
Well, I suppose that sort of trad thing was a really big influence. Like it was very much ceilidh music was what I played, and it was always with older people or like folk of my like grown-ups that I was playing with when I was a kid. I think I was 18 before I really met anybody else my age that played. I never really took part in the Face when I was wee. So I was always playing with adults, and so it tended to be those kind of folk that influenced a lot of my playing. But when I was a teenager, I was lent a couple of CDs that really, I think, molded my playing a lot more. I think a lot more than I realised at the time. But somebody lent me Solace CDs, their first 2 albums, and that was just like hearing John Doyle playing the guitar like that was just incredible. And Seamus Egan on the banjo, of course, and I also loved the music of Natalie McMaster and Eileen Ivers. They were my 2 big fiddle heroes. Funnily enough, neither of them Scottish, an Irish-American player and a Kate Retner. Those were my 2 sort of strongest fiddle influences. And then slightly later after that, I discovered Ian Carr and Karen Tweed's album Shush. And that was just like, what? Like hearing a bit of melody playing, but also really interesting rhythmic stuff. So Ian's been a massive influence on my guitar playing. I think part of what felt brilliant about that was that he plays in standard tuning rather than a lot of the Irish players were playing dadgad, and I was always playing in standard tuning. So to find someone that was doing things that, although not immediately attainable to somebody of my standard, it was just interesting to hear somebody doing those things in that tuning. So quite a few quite disparate influences, I suppose, and then a lot of more local influences. That the people that I played in bands with, Mike and Melanie Simpson from Edmonton, were massive influences. And when I was a kid, every so often you'd go to a session, and if you were lucky, a certain Bruce McGregor might show up with his fiddle. So those were really big influences on my playing as well.
Oh, that's amazing, actually. And so in 2003, you won the BBC Radio Scotland Young Traditional Musician Award, and I suppose the thing that jumps out for, I think, most of us who remember that was you picking the tune Trip to Windsor in a very bluegrass style. Were you thinking along these lines, or were you just sort of playing a tune on the guitar?
I absolutely wasn't thinking along those lines at all. No, I would say that at that point I hadn't listened to any. I think it would be fair to say I hadn't really listened to any bluegrass music at that point. It was just, I suppose maybe I hadn't heard that much flat picking, so it was kind of trying to find my own path with it and my own way of doing it. Maybe more influenced probably by the likes of Seamus Egan on the banjo, or like Jerry O'Connor on the banjo, a couple of players like that, and then it was kind of translating that onto a different instrument. So there definitely wasn't a specific bluegrass influence, no.
I mean, we were talking beforehand if there seems to be no footage anywhere of you winning the Young Trad Award. In fact, if any of our viewers today know of any footage of Anna playing at the Young Trad Award, I would love to see it. I remember the crowd
it'll be
going
in black
wild.
And white. If there is footage, it'll be black and white. That sort of grainy thing. A guy with a tuxedo and a wee moustache introducing it. This is the latest from Glasgow.
Well, luckily I managed to find a bit of footage from around the same time of you and Jen Butterworth playing together at Strathclyde University. Do you remember anything about this?
Yeah, so I was in first year when I won the Young Trad Award. And Jen, I think, was a year above me, or maybe 2 years above me. We were the same age, but I had taken a year out. She'd gone off to uni. We were both on the same course. And then Myra Green was also at Strathclyde studying French and marketing. So the three of us, I think, were quite often asked if we could go and perform at things. And I think this might have been a graduation ceremony or something. I remember it feeling like quite a posh event anyway, and Jen and I were there. We were sort of wheeled out for things. Actually, one of the things I remember playing was the opening of, like in the middle of Glasgow, there's the old Rotten Row. It was the maternity hospital, and it's now just a garden, an open green space in the middle of the Strathclyde Uni campus, and we were hired to play at the opening of that. So we played quite a few strange wee events for the uni, but yes, somebody happened to film this, and it's still on the internet there.
It's fantastic, and everyone is dressed up to the nines in it, actually, and I don't think we see it, but you get a massive cheer at the end.
Yeah!
Let's have a watch. It's the Mason's Apron. hear everyone cheering at home there, Anna. Just give a wee shout out to everyone who's watching. Hi to Tom and Sunny Motherwell, Ray from Meagle in Perthshire, Marianne Fisker Ma from Germany, normal weather too, Vincent from a cloudy and cool Leeds. One day, Vincent, it's going to be sunny there. Hi to Murrah. Jill, Jeff from gloomy Froome, I think, in Somerset. And who else? Murrah came and said hello. Henrietta Holmes Blair, nice to see you all. And Kim, who just said wow to that. Well, amazing. And Murrah saying, great stuff, Anna. You should have went mad and did the 5-part version.
Oof.
And Michael Barnes said you're in fine form.
Well, I think there were a few other parts. You've maybe done me a favour and cut out the showing off there. I'm really excited that Murrah's watching this because now who's asked him? Jeff has asked about Oiga, and I've got the CD here as well, Jeff. Can I find it? Oh.
It'll be in alphabetical order.
They are in alphabetical order. This CD.
No way!
Yes, this was one of my all-time favourite CDs. And also, this is another one. It's like the Solas and Ian Carr and Karen Tweed albums. I don't know how it ended up in the house, but it did. And I just listened to this over and over. I absolutely flipping loved it. And I had a sort of reunion with it a couple of years ago. I put it back on the old turntable, put it in the stereo. It's just brilliant. What magic.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Amazing. Well, you mentioned Myron Green there, who was marketing and French she was studying. Did she
yes.
She finished that course as well, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She got her degree, and I think she had to decide at the end of third year, she had to decide whether to graduate then, or if she was going to do the honours part of it, she would have had to go to France for the year. So she didn't. She decided to just stay in Scotland and do some gigging. But yeah, she did her degree in French and marketing.
Oh, right, and you've made 4 albums with Myra now, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, four albums as a duo, and then 2 albums before that with Jen Butterworth. So,
of course, yeah.
Yeah, 6 albums. That's quite a lot, actually. I hadn't really thought about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one, I've only got it here. Was it called after you? Your eponymous debut, it says on your website.
The eponymous debut.
And then Doubling in 2013, Best Day in 2015, and Farran in 2017. Great records as well.
Oh, thanks, Simon.
And I was actually... Sorry, go on, Anna.
No, you go on.
I was actually going to ask you about another blast from the past, the Myron and Anna Big Band.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. We did that. Now, I think it was the album Dublin. We assembled a gang and we played at the Arches during Celtic Connections. And so the first album we did was just really pretty live, but it was just the 2 of us recorded in the same room. Everything was just really sort of simple sound. And then the second album we decided to go a little bit fuller, and we sort of doubled up on stuff and added a few different instruments. Still just the 2 of us playing, but then we decided to approach Celtic Connections and ask if we could play a gig at the festival where all of those parts were played. So we had Laura Beth Salter played some mandolin. Gillian Frame and Ailey Shaw joined us on fiddle. Tia Files was on guitar. And I think maybe some pipes. She played some pipes as well.
It says that
and
here, yeah.
Natalie Haas joined us on the cello as well. It was totally brilliant crack. Just like a one-off gig, a one-time thing. And I think we were the support for 4 Men and a Dog, which were one of my all-time favourite bands. So it was like, I was just buzzing for days. It was such an amazing night.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Actually, on your website you said, we're looking forward to seeing you with the big band at festivals across the UK.
Oh, wow, that never came to anything.
Well, a missed opportunity for all these promoters.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to watch a video you and Myron from STV, And you're singing the song "She Loves Me When I Try." I really love your version of the song. And who wrote it? Where's it from?
It's a Dougie MacLean song. He's just got such a knack, I think, for writing songs that like it's a weird thing with Doogie's songs. I think you often get to the end of the first chorus and you're like, I totally know this. Or even by halfway through it, you feel like you know the song. So he's just got a way of writing something that feels so familiar, and he's just got a lovely turn of phrase. So yeah, that's it. That's where it came from.
All right, because it's interesting you say that, because I would never have put that as a Doogie song. Maybe it's your version, but it's got a kind of an Americana feel to it.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, I can't remember where I heard it from. It might have been Cara Dillon actually. I can't remember, but I definitely heard. No, that's she did Garden Valley. I heard Doogie singing it, but I can't remember what album it was on. Yes, but it was from him. But yeah, I think the Americana stuff is probably Myra and I rather than his writing, because I think he makes it sound really Scottish.
Well, let's have a listen to it.
Here comes the morning, cruel and clear. There is no reasonable chance that it might disappear. Here comes the evening, it's still the same. We are just passengers upon this godless, ghostly train. But she loves me when I try. She thinks about me when I'm gone, and she helps me when I can't hold on. It's another market, another sale, another reason to believe we're ahead and cannot fail. But there's deadly danger we must endure. There are so many different ways, we never can be sure. But she loves me when I try. She thinks about me when I'm gone, and she helps me when I can't hold on.
That's great. It's great to see all the Oiga conversations carrying on. It's funny that that album you had was recorded at the Renfrew Ferry in Glasgow.
Yes.
I mean, lucky it didn't sink.
I've only been on the Renfrew Ferry once.
Yeah, I went to a few sweaty gigs. I don't know. I think it's still there, but I don't know if it's been used. Did they not do the gig at Celtic Connections, the Elephant Sessions in Tallask? Was that at the Renfrew Ferry last year?
Yes, and it was like a late night thing, wasn't it? I think it was a sort of 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock gig or something. Proper sweaty, bopping about gig.
The best kind, Anna.
That's right.
But I suppose talking about sweaty and bopping around, let's chat about Blazing Fiddles.
What an absolutely glorious segue.
I was actually thinking today that you must be the oldest member of the band outside the founding members. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I've been in the band, I think, for 11 years now. I was the first sort of replacement. It was all original members until Mark and Aidan left at the same time, and that's when it went from a 7-piece to a 6-piece. So yeah, that was I think 11 years ago now. Brilliant. It doesn't feel like that, but it's an absolute blast. Actually, I love it. I really love playing.
Well, I love watching you with the band. You always seem to be having a great time together. Do you have a great time together?
Yeah, actually, it's. Oh, I can't be. I really hate it when bands are like, "Oh yeah, we're pals," because I always think, "Oh, shut up, you hate someone. There must be somebody that really winds you up. But actually, I think it's there's something really nice about it in that over this last year there's not been loads of work going on. People haven't been particularly busy. We've obviously not been touring. We've done a couple of online tuition things. We've done a bit of filming for Celtic Connections and the Hogmanay Show and stuff. We've done a few things, but what's been really lovely is that that's probably one of my most active WhatsApp groups. Like the band is constantly in touch, and it's really nice to see that we're constantly in touch about, well, very little to do with work. There's just kind of wee bits of daily chat and photos and stuff flying back and forward, and it's a really good fun bunch of people to hang out with. So there's 6 in the band, and our 7th member is Jimmy Troop, the sound guy, and yeah, it's just I feel very fortunate to like everybody that I work with. I feel really lucky about that, and I genuinely enjoy spending time with them. Of course, there are days when we are raging and can't be bothered with each other, but most of the time, it's a really lovely group dynamic.
Oh, I mean, it definitely comes across. I wonder, I think there's some great choreographing in that band. Do they actually think about that? I mean, you're at the back with Angus and not doing a lot of movement, but do they actually think, oh, let's all bend down here?
No. However, like nothing is planned like that. But I think it's the sort of thing that, like, there's almost a muscle memory thing of, like it'll all happen at once, or like those moments of everybody kind of leans into something at the same time just by coincidence, and then it becomes that thing that happens. But there's never been an actual choreography session as far as I'm aware. I mean, I don't know what the fiddlers get up to when Angus and I aren't there. They might be planning that stuff, but
because there might be another WhatsApp group for the dancing.
There have been so many moments of it that have gone really badly wrong that you couldn't possibly believe there's any choreography. Like one of the best bits was when at Celtic Connections 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I can't remember. We had a gig at the King's Theatre here in Glasgow, and Karen Matheson was singing with us, and it was a beautiful night. It was so special to be playing in that lovely theatre. Everybody was all quite dolled up for the theatre gig, including Bruce, who was in a new sort of tartan check tweed suit. And towards the end of the night, he kind of got himself down into the splits, and he split his trousers. He burst his trousers right on stage, and thankfully it was like towards the end of the gig. But he burst the middle seam of his trousers. And the best bit about that was that a week later, his wife Jo went on to the company that had made the suit, going, "This is ridiculous, your tailoring is obviously not up to scratch." And they replied saying, "We've actually seen how your husband ripped his trousers, and these suits are not designed for gymnastics." It was brilliant. So yeah, the choreography can be a bit dangerous from time to time.
Oh, fantastic. Well, of course, Bruce is well known for his dancing on tables and everywhere. He's very good at it. Well, we're going to watch a video of you playing a very recent gig, the BBC Hogmanay gig. It looked like it must have been great fun to get together with everyone for that.
It was so good. Yeah, I think that was the first time we had seen each other, and I'd seen various members of the band, but this was the first time we'd been together. And we were kind of fortunate in that we filmed our gig for Celtic Connections and the Hogmanay Show just like a day apart, and filmed some online tuition videos down at Grand House Studio. So we'd quite a few days together in the run up to it, and it was brilliant to see everybody again and just to get playing. It was a really exciting thing. And then Deacon Blue were on the Hogmanay Show as well. It was all pre-recorded this year, so because of COVID there was no live audience in there, so there was just us on one side of the room on our stage, and on the other side of the room was Deacon Blue. And so like the 6 of us sitting going, "We're getting a private Deacon Blue gig." It was totally brilliant. Like great dignity. This was amazing. So yeah, we were all having the best night out.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that sounds great, actually. Well, let's watch the video. What's the name of the jig again you're playing?
The Double Rise, a Phil Cunningham tune. I think about clay pigeon shooting when they have two clays released at the same time. I think that's a Double Rise.
All right. I don't know if it was originally on the Relativity album. Do you remember that? The red one with the train. As I like to think about it, forgetting the titles. So, now here, let's go. Are there any Blazers tours planned for later in the year?
Well, we're hoping so. We're hoping to be able to be out doing some stuff by November, and we're really hopeful that Blazing in Bewley can happen actually in Bewley in October. I guess we're going to just have to be guided by everybody else's happenings. We're hoping as well that the tour that we have lined up with Hannah Rarity can go ahead. That would be in August. But you know, that still feels simultaneously ages away and very soon to be planning stuff like that. So we're just kind of having to play it all by ear a little bit, but we're ever hopeful that we'll be back out as soon as we can be.
There's Jill saying we've got tickets for Kendall, so hoping it goes ahead.
Oh, it's just such a great venue. I love playing that. The old Brewery Arts Centre in Kendall there. It's just such a great place to play.
Last time I played it was with some free improvised jazz. It was packed. Anyway, I mean, as you've kept us all entertained over lockdown, Anna, and it's been amazing. And as well as your Blackout correspondent videos, which we've loved, you've also been live at 5 with Bruce, and through that you took part in the fundraiser for Doddie's Dream.
Yeah, that kind of all came about quite strangely the way that happened. Bruce wrote the tune and he'd sent it to me for a Live at 5 thing early on in the year. I think he maybe wrote it on Hogmanay actually, or on the 1st or something of January. He sent me this tune, and then he got thinking about it and he just felt like this is just so... It just felt like a really hopeful tune, and we'd all been talking about for a while that it would be nice to try and do something to support the Doddy Weir motor neuron disease funding stuff. And then this is just kind of what happens with Bruce, where he has these ideas, and normally you go, oh yeah, but actually Bruce does stuff and phones people and makes stuff actually happen. So over the course of about 2 weeks, we'd gone from, wouldn't it be nice if we could do something with that, to he'd gone into the studio in Inverness to record it, and the rest of us had been down here in Glasgow and recorded our bits. And then the next thing was, well, there's about 35 people that I've asked, and they're going to send all their recordings in, and the whole thing just kind of grew, and everybody that you asked really was really up for taking part in it. And it just kind of grew really quickly, and the video came out again. People were happy to donate their time to make this lovely video, and it was played before the rugby in Murrayfield as well, just at the end of the Six Nations. It was just a really brilliantly sort of, I don't know, it felt like quite an organic process. It felt like a really good, helpful thing to be doing.
Yeah, just to name some of the people who were actually in that video as well, we had Nicola Benedetti. It was great to see Phil and Ali together. Donald Shaw. There was, and of course, all the Blazers were part of it as well. It was, I mean, I have to say the video is a beautifully shot video as well. The lighting on you and Bruce is great.
Yeah, so that's a guy, Tiger Shark TV, this company, and I think Bruce knows them through from rugby stuff. So there's a rugby link that he's got anyway, and I think Bruce had played rugby at uni in Edinburgh with Doddy when he was a boy. But yeah, these guys were just making the video, and they said, "Oh, could you come up to Stirlingshire and we'll film you and Bruce?" And the pair of us were perched on these bar stools on this old byre, absolutely freezing. But it was just, and they were going, "Well, we're going to put a green screen up there, and we'll film from here, and then we'll do some technical stuff, and everybody's going to appear behind you." And just kind of went,
yeah,
right.
I mean, that's
Fine,
it's,
yeah.
it's interesting to hear that, because actually it is a really interesting take on the videos that you get where everybody's in them and they're just in squares, but the way that they do it, it's like Nicola Benedetti looks like she's peering through the window at you.
Yeah, so I think the plan had been, we'll do that thing of everybody's going to just appear in a little bit, like a lot of the style of videos that you've seen over the last year. But they said, because now there are so many people involved, if we do that, it's just going to be tiny, and most people are looking at these things on mostly a phone screen, so it can't be something as small as that. So then the film guys came up with this idea of just a bit of green screen stuff, and making them appear on the textured wall behind us. So that was all down to the filmmakers.
Well, it's great. And if anyone wants to find out more about the foundation, the website is my name number 5, so my name 5 Doddy.co.uk, and the charity is doing great work for motor neuron disease, and hopefully they'll at some point manage to work towards some kind of cure for it. But let's watch the video just now. That's great. It's a really cheery piece of music.
It is. It's just really bright. The funny thing is, Bruce recorded it on this fiddle that he found in an old, I think it was in an auction in France, like for 10 quid or something. And it got done up, and it's a really nice fiddle, but he's discovered that it sits really nice if it's tuned down a tone from normal fiddle tuning. So it's FCGD. But he's just playing it normally. So everybody's learnt this tune in F and C. But the fact is that Bruce has been playing it in G and D. And he said, guys, when are we going to tell them all that it's in the wrong key? Bruce, you're going to need to learn it in F to play it on gigs. Because everyone's learnt it in that key. There was a brilliant thing when Nicola Benedetti sent her video in. And there had been like a little metronome counting. And she was reading the music. And there was this 1, 2, 3, 4 counting, and she just went and she played it. She just read the music and played the tune through. And Angus Lyon, who mixed it all, put it all together, was saying, "Oh man, she hadn't played along with the track. I don't know how this is going to work." And of course, she's incredible, and the whole thing was just so bang in time. She absolutely just nailed it. She's just wonderful. We were delighted that she agreed to take part in that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And she's done Nicola Benedetti's done a power of work over lockdown as well with her various masterclass for young people. I think she's been absolutely fabulous throughout.
Yeah. Well, she was doing before that. We were all kind of watching her videos. We were away with the Blazers and talking about her because Kristen Harvey had done. I think it was maybe at the proms in the park when Harv won the Young Trad Award. She'd ended up playing Leaving Lerwick Harbour with Nicola Benedetti, this beautiful duet. There's a video of it on YouTube. So Harv knew her a wee bit, and we're all kind of in awe of her because she's such an amazing performer, such a beautiful player. And she did this brilliant series on, maybe it was just her Instagram, where she was just kind of being really honest about practicing, and she's going, "I've got all these, this is how I practice. Oh, I've still never found the right shoulder rest. I've never found a comfy one. They all just feel rubbish, but I've got this big box of them. I'm working with this one at the moment." And she was saying, like, just kind of talking you through mental approach to gigs and how to practice effectively, and just really sort of gracious and generous with her time. And it would be really easy to not do that, but she just seems to be very given with her.
And normal.
Aye.
I once, back in the 90s, and I think it was the very first BBC Music Day, where me and some other young trad winners, who was it again? It was Katrina McDonald, Luke Daniels, a few others played at this big concert. And at the concert, the concert idea was Mick Jagger's. And I remember getting onto this big stage. I remember this big stage because it was like 3 orchestras. There was a Marines choir. There was us folkies. And it was all conducted by a woman who'd won a prize in the Daily Record. It was quite funny. And Screaming Lord Sutch was there as well. And it was doomed to fail. And yes, it did. But I managed to shake Mick Jagger's hand. And I was amazed. I was amazed how small he was.
Really?
He's when you see him on the telly, he's such a large character, an amazing guy. In fact, you should check out his latest single. I watched that the other day. There, he's done it with the guy from the Foo Fighters. He's an amazing
man. I heard about that. Him and Dave Grohl, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the same age as my dad. I don't see my dad doing that.
That's probably just because he doesn't have Dave Grohl's number. That's all.
Well, you're right, actually. I'll maybe try and get that and send it on to my dad. Anyway, Annie, thank you very much for coming along today.
Oh, a pleasure.
It's been really nice. Next week, we're back with the legendary Charlie McKernan.
Oh,
now, he's got some stories.
Aye.
I don't know if we'll go there, though.
Is it still a lunchtime show next week, is it?
Oh, yeah, so it'll be great fun. So anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 2 p.m.